Hello there. We're back with another episode of Sheeple's Army, your favorite anti-fascist, anti-apostrophe podcast. My name's Tyler.
I'm Justin.
And I'm TJ.
And now, so TJ, what's up with the anti-apostrophe thing? Why don't we have an apostrophe?
The font won't do it.
The font won't do it.
Every time I try to add one, it just changes fonts on me.
So you heard it here first. That's why we don't have the apostrophe, because our favorite font.
The free version of a graphic design app on my phone for this. All right, so.
And that's fine. That's how we're doing it here. We're just kind of rolling with it, right?
Yeah. When people start donating money, then we can we can bump up to that premium version.
So okay,
we're starting a build the wall companion organization.
Dude, that's a good way to make some money. So Justin and TJ, I didn't get to tell you guys about this. I want to kind of tell you guys a little bit about what happened last week after we recorded episode 1. Tell
us, please, Tyler.
Yeah, so as you guys will probably remember, we recorded sort of late at night, right? So I went to bed not too long afterwards, and I was actually sleeping very soundly that night until I heard my phone go off at 2 a.m. Do you guys think you know who might have been calling me at 2 a.m?
Let's hear it.
Any idea? No guesses?
Are you Batman?
Come on.
Was it the commissioner?
It was, okay, friend of the pod?
George Soros.
Yes, that was who it was. So, okay. George is calling me at 2 a.m. So I do the thing that you got to do in this situation, right? I sort of reach over my wife, who's in bed next to me, to get to the phone. Side note, she's very beautiful. And she's like, who is it? And I say very calmly, it's no one, honey. Go back to sleep. And I take the phone off the thing, right? And I say, Jesus Christ, Georgie, do you have any idea what fucking time it is? He totally just
said that with an Italian accent.
And I don't know what got into me. I got sort of Italian when he was calling me. I was upset because I was
sweat going on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was disturbed from my sleep. Right?
Is that what we're hearing right now?
He pissed me off. He pissed my wife off. But at the same time, I know where our bread is buttered. Right?
It's true.
So
he does butter our bread,
he understood. He understood that I snapped at him a little bit. But so he just sort of brushed it off, and this is what he said to me. Listen here, kid. That Sheeple's Army thing was some really good stuff. I want more next week. Let's keep the ball rolling on this deal, all right? You guys know that meme where it's like this super cucked looking guy and he's just like, yes, honey, or like healthcare, please.
That's like us.
That was me in this situation, right? Because like I said, I know where our bread is buttered.
George Soros demands more Sheeple's Army.
Exactly. You heard it here first. And
what
that's why
getting out of this, out of curiosity.
I don't know. We're going to find out
for a second.
But anyways, it brings me great pleasure to inform our listeners that we are now official. We are approved and we are here to stay.
That's it. We're approved.
Yeah, we're approved. He approved. Yeah. So, okay. Let's see. Should we? We've got some hate mail that we wanted to get into today.
We do have some good hate mail already.
So
it's always nice to hear from fans. Always
nice, yeah. So basically, what happened last week? We just made the Twitter account. I was just trying to kind of get our feet wet a little bit, get the Sheeple's Army name out there. I followed a lot of interesting people. I followed some left-wing people who are cool. And then I followed some not cool people, right? Like some, like Andy No, for example. I followed him. So basically Andy No's thing, like what this guy does is so as much as the right wing kind of likes to complain about like cancel culture and like shaming and stuff like that, his career is basically him tweeting to his like 700,000 followers the pictures of mugshots and like full names of people who are arrested at protests. That's kind of what he does, right?
He makes like kill lists for neo-Confederate organizations.
Exactly, yeah. So he tweeted a video of basically it was a college student. There was a protest going on, and it was a college student and some Trump supporters were yelling at each other, right? And this college student said something that was sort of cringy. It was not a good thing to say. They said, "I'm a college student. I have an education," when they were yelling at these Trump supporters. And I basically, okay, for anybody who doesn't know how the Bird Hell site works, the quicker you reply to a thread or like a tweet, the more people are going to see it, right? So I did a sort of childish thing, and I kind of trolled a little bit. I typed something out really fast, and I'm admitting this was kind of childish, but basically I said, this was the Sheeple's
Lay
Army.
It all out for us, Tyler.
Yeah, this was the Sheeple's Army tweet. A college student saying something sort of cringe could never measure up to the cringe of flying American, Trump, and Blue Lives Matter flags on top of a platform in the middle of traffic. Fucking embarrassing. And I added the little cry, like emoji, laughing, crying, like face that you do when you're trolling, you know? And so because I tweeted this, opened. Right. So because I tweeted this so quickly, I got like 50 pieces of hate mail in reply.
Yeah.
A lot of people were upset with this. I struck a nerve, right? What are some of the highlights, you guys?
I've got a good one. This comes from at Tater Salad 69.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, this is what he had to say. He said he has 8 followers. High as podcast must be banging.
Hell yeah!
And then a bunch of emojis.
So that was kind of a good roast, right?
And then I have one more. This comes from at 230_section.
Okay.
It's only cringe because you've been successfully programmed by Soros.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
As I laid out at the yeah.
We're the test stage, the end test stage of development for podcasting robots.
Programmed. Yeah.
Programmed. Yeah.
Oh my God, Soros is extremely effective. He's programmed a lot of
Daddy Soros.
That's why yeah, exactly. Because it's what we're programmed to do.
I literally can't help myself.
Yeah.
Tyler, I think you had another good one directed at you.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Go for it. Or did you have it, or you want me to read it?
No, you go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a few. Jimmy Joe 77.
James. My friend James.
That's his real name.
That's not his real name. There's no way. So he says, and I'm sorry, I know my mom is a listener to the show, so I'm sorry, Mom. But
sorry, Tyler's mom.
He says your mom's birth of you was embarrassing.
Tyler's mom would love to have you come on the pod and let us know.
Yeah. So I personally thought it was extremely based when my mom gave birth to me, but I don't know. And then there was another one that I think what happened was they deleted it. I'm not positive, but I can't find it. But they told me to light myself on fire. They told me to. It was because they were referring to the like Antifa protester where that situation where a protester had been lit on fire, and they told me to do that to myself. So that was nice. That was nice to get some of these messages. I'm kind of scrolling now.
Always great to hear from fans.
Yeah. Yeah, we love to hear from fans. This guy says double major in women's studies and sociology, I'm sure. I didn't double major in women's studies. I did minor in sociology.
Feels like kind of close.
So kind of close. Honestly, a lot of these people, they're not too far off with some of it, right? So at least they're in tune.
I'm a whiny gas bag. I don't know.
Yeah, they're somewhat in tune to what's going on, at least. Let's see. Also some cultural Marxism references, right? And Justin fucking replied to the thread, even though I told him not to, because I wanted
to get people to explain to me what the fuck cultural Marxism means. Yeah,
I think cultural Marxism is like a catch-all for any sort of like Anytime you apply like a critical theory to something like race or gender.
Yeah, I think it's if you're not doing the white supremacist thing, then you're doing the culturally Marxist thing.
Right. If you
cultural.
If you apply a critical lens to an issue, you're doing a cultural Marxism.
That's what they call it, doing a cultural Marxism.
That's what they call it, yeah.
We should put that on a shirt.
I think it's a reverse cultural Marxism.
We should make a poster that's like a sheep with like dressed as Uncle Sam, and it's like, we want you to do
cultural Marxism.
To do a cultural Marxism. Do one cultural Marxism every day.
Do you think doing cultural Marxisms is cool?
Yeah.
That'd be grand. This is your brain on cultural Marxism.
Perfect.
This would be a good meme for us.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of replies, and of course the people. You guys can go and look at these too.
Yeah, there's some Nazis in there.
There's Nazis. Yeah, there's definitely Nazis. There's like a lot of that Pepe, the Pepe the Frog meme going on.
But you should follow. Hit the follow.
Maybe I will. Yeah, maybe we will.
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Listeners should hit the follow on us, not on the Nazi frog account.
That's at Sheeple's Army Pod on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah. Follow us at Sheeple's Army Pod on Twitter. And then what's our IG?
I think it's the same. It's just Sheeple's Army on Instagram.
Sheeple's Army. Cool.
We're lacking followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get that.
Lots of pictures of sheep.
On Instagram, I don't think.
So, okay, guys, let's transition into so what's going on in the world right now? So we've got fire. The West Coast is on fire, right?
It's basically on fire, yeah.
TJ and I are in Oregon right now, currently experiencing apparently like the worst air quality in the world, right?
Yeah, it's like us, Seattle, San Francisco, and then it's like Dubai.
Yeah. So, and TJ had kind of like, I mean, you had an experience with this week that was not good, right, TJ?
Yeah, me and my family got evacuated. So we live in Canby, which is about 30 minutes south of Portland. Mm-hmm. We were about 15 minutes from the nearest fire. That we were a bit farther out from the bigger ones. But we just kind of watched it go from like level 1 to level 2, and then the level 3 area was creeping pretty close. So we evacuated, and we just came back today actually. So tonight will be the first night in about a week that I am back in my house, which is nice. But we were super lucky. Like some of my family that lives up north a bit took me in. My partner had surgery, and the hospital comped a room. And then a doggy daycare watched our dog for basically like pay what you want. So we were taken care of. So we had, we were a lot luckier than a lot of people.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are like in parking lots right now.
Yes. A lot of people are in parking lots. A lot of houses, towns are burning in the Southern Oregon, in California too. There's about 30 fires going on in California. And I was talking to my little sister, who her boyfriend is a firefighter down there, and he's just been being moved around all over the place.
Yeah.
Because they are just lacking with firefighters.
Yeah,
so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And that was started, the big one, the El Dorado fire, which is like the big one, it's taken around 10,000 acres, was started from that gender reveal party.
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah. Do we
want
to?
The big one was started from that. Jesus.
You know what's crazy is yesterday too. I was like with my brother-in-law, and we were driving to the store in his neighborhood, and there was like a group of people outside in like the smoke-filled air having a gender reveal party.
Oh my God.
Fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's like mind-blowing.
I mean, okay. Does a gender reveal party always involve some kind of like pyrotechnic bullshit?
No.
Okay.
Like I think the one that I saw had like balloons, and you pop the balloon, and it was either like pink or blue confetti that came out.
Okay,
that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Did you hear that the creator of the gender reveal party, or the person who first popularized it, she was like calling for everyone to stop doing it?
Yeah.
She's like, this is fucking stupid.
Stop. No one cares what your ugly ass baby's gender is.
Yeah. Like, they do not give a fuck about your baby's penis. Stop doing this.
I also think that like part of the problem with this is like, no matter what, I don't think gender reveal parties are going to go anywhere. Like, I think this is going to keep happening because it's like, it's kind of like one of the most American things you can possibly do, right? Which is like, you know, you get to, so, okay, for one, you get to kind of begin the gender socialization process before your child is even born, right? So, and it's like, we love doing that kind of thing, right? And then two, you get to use like dangerous explosives. That's like, it's like the perfect combination of things that we love. I don't
know if it's always dangerous explosives, but I feel
you
like
get to
some sort of like firework or something involved.
Right. I'm just saying you get to do it though, right?
Oh, it's like an excuse.
It's an excuse. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
totally.
It's like really crazy. I think one thing that's worth noting is that gender reveal parties are pretty recent inventions, you know? It's not something that's been happening for a very long time, and like in all likelihood is a direct result of like anxiety around like trans people gaining visibility and shit.
Exactly. It's definitely like a reactionary phenomenon, right?
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah. And apparently I was reading too that like something similar happened in Arizona in 2017. It was like
this is like the second one that started like a major fire.
Dude, and in Arizona, it resulted in like 47,000 acres of land being burned and like $8 million in damages.
It's pretty crazy.
So gender reveal parties are really racking up the damages at this point.
They've killed more people than Antifa.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, I mean it's pretty crazy. And I was also reading too that like obviously like climate change is like a big factor here, right? Like
absolutely
everything's heating up. But another big factor, especially for California, was they stopped doing controlled burns this year because of COVID.
Right.
Oof.
So they banned controlled burns because they didn't want to expose people to like smoke. So you had all of this like old growth and like dry like growth just like not being taken care of. That just contributed to these like massive fires.
Jesus.
Definitely.
So that kind of backfired on them.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we don't have to spend too much time. I think we'll probably get more into climate change on like another episode, but like I do have to say we've seen like, who do we got? Like a lot of the Democratic governors and kind of like we've got Nancy Pelosi as well talking about, you know, that this is a result, you know, acknowledging that this is happening more frequently and like at more dangerous levels because of climate change, right?
Totally.
But these same politicians are not really, you know, trying to kind of give us an adequate response to what they admit is a crisis.
Oh yeah, at all.
I was just having this conversation yesterday. I think it's time to actually start like asking Democrats like the fundamental question of like, do you really accept the science in the way that you claim to? Because I mean, they're not heeding.
No.
They don't give a shit. And obviously Republicans. So I guess there's been like, especially in Oregon, a lot of bills that have been recently like tried to pass that the Republicans keep like not allowing because it's usually involved with like climate change. But it's like a bunch of bills that would like help bolster like our Forest Service and like, you know, modernize it a little bit and like allow all of these precautionary measures to take place to stop these kinds of things from happening. And they're just like not having it.
Weren't the climate change bills like what sparked some of the lawmakers to like flee into Idaho and stuff?
Yep. That was fucking crazy. That's what we're dealing with. Yeah. And then, so of course, the Republicans deny it outright. And what I'm trying to say with the Democrats is it's on you guys. If you're the ones that accept the science, then, you know, fucking present something that is going to actually address it.
Yeah. Do something besides saying that you understand.
Exactly.
The thing is, like, if they like, that's all they can do because like they're absolutely committed to not actually doing anything to structurally change like
Right.
They're in this country.
They're beholden to the same interests that are funding the denial of the Republicans.
Oh yeah,
it's like,
yeah, of course,
it's all about that money, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, if they were actually going to argue for like justice oriented policies, they would like have to include economic justice in some ways, right? Like, there's no way to fight climate change and not fight that aspect of it as well. So
exactly, yeah, and that's part of the thing with the Green New Deal, and obviously that's why Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the establishment has been like extremely hostile to it, right? Because it doesn't only call for like cutting emissions. It calls for, in order to do that, we have to like fundamentally look at the way we distribute resources differently.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and yeah. Let's see, what else do we got, you guys?
It came out in the news recently. This is just kind of a fun aside, but came out in the news recently that while on a trip to North Korea, Kim Jong-un winked at Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And when Trump found out, he asked her to take one for the team and to sleep with Kim Jong-un.
That's actually hilarious. I know that's like sexist of me to say.
It's like really insane. I think it's just like an objectively absurd situation.
Hilarious.
Jesus Christ. Should we get into the Michael Reinoehl thing that we kind of wanted to talk about last time, but there wasn't really any information on it?
Yeah, that sounds good. So I was telling Tyler this. I watched the documentary that, I guess it was like a short interview that Vice broadcast with him. They had like a couple clips of him speaking, and then they had a bunch of commentary from a leftist journalist about like why leftists are bringing guns to rallies and stuff and all that. So it was actually a pretty good, well-framed piece. But I'll just kind of start with the basics of the case, and y'all can jump in whenever. Sure. But so Michael Reinoehl, so he is someone who's been like really active at the Portland protests. He's been like getting hit with rubber bullets and like, kind of facing off with Nazis and stuff. In July, he was actually shot in the arm while trying to break up a fight. And then in August, he was in Portland that one night when like all of the Trump rally goers from Salem came up to Portland to like harass people and stuff and like drive through the streets in like a huge truck brigade. And it was like really, I think it was like several hundred trucks, and like a bunch of people just like harassing people and like running into protesters and spraying people with mace and shit. And so I think that was the situation was, like one of these chuds, one of these right-wing guys, he like came up to Michael Reinoehl and another guy, and he like started trying to mace them, and then Michael Reinoehl shot him. Dude died. I don't think he died right away. I think he died a little bit later on. But then, obviously like right-wingers started going rabid for this, and it was
right. Like, I think his sister was waking up to like death threats and stuff.
Yeah, they identified him pretty quick, and he started to get a lot of death threats, I think.
Right.
As well.
And even though it was interesting because it kind of took a little bit of time, I felt like, for them to officially say that this was like the person that they were looking for.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
He was walking around for a few days. Yeah. Yeah, and like he saw that like fucking the Attorney General William Barr and like other like top level people, I think Trump as well, were like calling for him to be like pretty much executed in the street and shit. They weren't really saying that, exactly. They were saying law and order and he must be punished severely or whatever.
Exactly, but that's kind of the subtext, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and like, you can see like that very plainly is the subtext by what happened next, which was he was in like a small town in Washington, I think about 150 miles north of Portland. and he was, according to the testimony of one of his neighbors who is like a pastor, he had a cell phone in one hand and he had a gummy worm in the other.
Yeah.
And he was going out to his car from an apartment complex, and two unmarked cop cars pulled up, and without identifying themselves and without attempting to arrest him, they just started opening fire on him.
Yep.
He like ducked behind his car, and they like, I think they fired like 24 shots at him. He didn't fire a single shot. They haven't been able to produce a gun from the event. So he apparently had a gun like on him, but like there's like no indication that like it was out or anything, or that he like had it like even on his person. Could have been in his car or something.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, or he didn't have one. It's like
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, no, this is fucking. I mean, like honestly, for me, like this was an assassination to me. Like you kind of said. I mean, like I think that he killed their ideological partner, and they retaliated.
Yeah.
At least that's kind of what it seems like. I know it sounds like there may have been some sort of like conflicting witness reports.
Yeah, there was.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Some people said that he had a gun.
Right.
And some people said that he like fired on the police officers, but there's no actual evidence of that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what a shitty situation.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, you guys can disagree with me if you want. It's fine. I don't think that he was justified in shooting someone because he was pepper sprayed.
Sure,
but I think besides that, it was an obvious like retaliation by the police.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really like the thing to get to here, right? Because
so I want to just like hop in real quick on the pepper spray deal. Like that shit is a deadly weapon, you know? Like, so I mean, like, I think that it is, I think, totally legit to say like that is maybe like too strong of a reaction to that. But I think also that we underestimate like how lethal stuff like pepper spray can be.
Pepper spray is definitely bad, but people aren't buying pepper spray to kill someone.
Sure,
you don't buy pepper spray with the thought that like, oh, I'm going to use this to kill someone.
Yeah, it's true, but people do die from that shit.
People can die from it, but I don't think it's that often, and I feel like most of the time it has to do with like other underlying issues because it's like a respiratory thing. Again, totally. I'm not justifying this. Like he was assassinated. I truly believe that the police like charged with like everyone basically calling for him to be, like we said, like murdered in the street or apprehended or punished or whatever.
Totally.
I just think the situation is like all around. And I think also like, especially if we're going to criticize, it's not the same situation, but if we're going to criticize Kyle Rittenhouse, then like we also have to kind of follow through on that.
Well, I hear that definitely. But I mean, I think if you look at who is the aggressor, right? In like both situations, it's the like right-wing Nazi.
Sure. No,
like,
totally.
Like,
I get it. I just don't think that, and this is again coming from someone that like loves guns and like is all about that stuff. I just don't think that being pepper sprayed is a justification for shooting someone. And I feel like I see a lot of people that were like, good and like whatever. Like that dude was maybe shitty. The dude who died, I don't know anything about him, but I think like making like maybe you could potentially make him out to be like a martyr if that's your thing. But I think like I've seen a lot of people like calling him like a hero for like killing this guy.
Right.
And like, as shitty as that dude was, I don't think that like this is the situation that is like maybe should have happened.
Calls for that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That guy could have been a piece of shit.
He
probably was.
Yeah, I'm sure. And at the same time, kind of to what you're saying, TJ, I don't want them to have any reason to figure out some way to designate Antifa as a terrorist group.
Totally. And that's a big thing too. This guy was very much like, I'm Antifa.
Right. Which
like
sucks.
He had like the black fist tattooed on his neck.
Yeah, I mean, like that sucks. It's unfortunate when it happens. It's unfortunate when like the right wing weaponizes like stuff cynically against the left. But like they're gonna do that anyway. Like people are defending Kyle Rittenhouse,
Oh yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
I don't think we should really be worried about like giving them more ammunition because they'll use literally nothing.
That's true.
Sure,
that is very true. I don't know. I was like really conflicted when looking into this and kind of reading stuff because it's like I mean, it sucks that, it sucks that both of them died in this situation. Like, it's just like an all around, like, fucking, it sucks that this is where it's heading. And I feel like this is like just the beginning, honestly.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, every major fascist movement in the world has had like street gangs be a major component.
Oh yeah,
of
of
violence,
course. And also, I mean, like,
that's what we're seeing.
any sort of like revolution against the government, this is like, there are deaths.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just fucking rough situations, rough times.
Yeah,
it is. Do you see that Bill Barr said that the streets of America are safer now that he's been assassinated?
Dude, that is crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I will say though that it's also like so wild watching like the response from the right on like this situation and all, like compared to the Kyle Rittenhouse situation where they were like saying that he should be president.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's all in bad faith. Literally, that's the only thing that you need to know to understand what's happening.
Crazy.
Do not believe anything on its face that comes out of those people's mouths.
So, and it's hard to say if we're ever going to really know how the kind of what we are kind of thinking was an assassination went down, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess that the witness's lawyer, as well as others, are calling for like an independent investigation because
I think it's so clear what happened.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, there's like very little doubt in my mind that, at the like, yeah, I mean, how could it not? It's just like,
yeah,
I agree.
They started firing on him when his back was turned.
Yeah, it's just like the whole situation is like, I would be surprised honestly if they had like captured him.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
definitely.
We know what these people do. This is like what they're trained to do, honestly.
Yeah. No, they only capture right-wing terrorists alive.
Exactly.
Yeah, just mass shooters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Only literally Nazis,
Yeah, no, there's like there's kind of like a culture within broadly speaking within law enforcement where the left the left is absolutely the enemy. That's kind of that's kind of how it's been historically, and there's no reason to think that that's changed, right?
Yeah
at all. Yeah.
And I mean, I have family that's in law enforcement that I truly believe they're good people, but at the same time, like, I've told them my thoughts on everything, and like they agree that it's like shitty, and they're in the mindset of like, well, I can change it from the inside, which is like, obviously, as we know, not really possible.
Yeah. True.
Definitely.
But, I mean, a lot of people do think that way.
Loads of people think that way.
And that makes me think of that video of the old man being just like brutalized by those cops in where
in Rochester.
Was that where it was?
Yeah.
And I think it was a thing where like one of the cops kind of like tried to stop and go help him because they realized that they literally just pushed this like extremely old man down and like hit his head on the pavement, and one of them tried to go help, and then like one of the other ones was like
stopped it.
Yeah.
Like grabbed him. Yeah.
That was kind of the perfect like microcosm of like how hard it is to like fight back against a system like that
and then like the people were like calling that old man like Antifa and saying that he was like an agitator.
Yeah.
He was just
and like calling like the blood fake. And there was like a video going around too of like someone like a group of people that were like quote unquote Antifa like arguing with him like he was like a complete outside agitator. I don't know. It was just like people were really like digging into conspiracies for that one.
Totally.
Yeah, I think all of this shit is just like fodder for conspiracy theories. We should definitely do a bit on QAnon our next episode.
We're going to.
But
at some
one
point.
thing that also, what do you say?
At some point, we definitely will. Yeah.
We have to. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, one thing that I've been following recently, which has been really crazy, is like the police officers' gangs in Los Angeles. Have you all heard about this?
No.
Yeah, so there are different gangs that have like different like rituals and shit where they have to like murder somebody in order to be part of like a deputies gang or whatever.
What?
Yeah, and you might have heard of this this case. It's been evolving in LA over the past several months, but there's this a young man, I think he was like 20, maybe like 19, Andres Guardado. And police, they like literally just like rolled up on him and he ran away, and then they like cornered him, and then he was like kneeling with his hands behind his head, and they shot him in the back of the head. And like this was, the police tried to like wipe the security cameras nearby, but like somehow footage got leaked.
Oh my god.
And it turns out that the cop that shot him was like trying to get like a tattoo for the gang.
Oh my
so that's why I did it.
It's fucking wild.
Fraternities, bro. We call those fraternities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like literally like like I don't even know. Like what do you call it at that point? It's like a state sanctioned street gang.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's get into this. Oh man, my I can feel already my blood as a somewhat overweight Italian man. I can feel my blood pressure getting ready to rise as
he's going full Guido.
If
there's any Italians listening to me right now, just fucking chill out. All right, I'm allowed to
Mamma mia. Here we go again.
I don't think Guido's a slur.
I don't think so. It's fine. So this Politico piece that came out about a week ago. So okay, it's entitled "Purity Test: Democrats Clash Over Biden Diversity Goals."
I would just like to say anything that says purity test in the title is probably like a bit
horseshit.
I think a bit dodgy to use the words purity test.
Yeah, no, it's extremely dismissive. Well, okay, so I'm gonna just read like a couple paragraphs from it. So it says, quote, progressives have been calling on Biden to take a hard line in filling out his cabinet, with groups such as Justice Democrats and Sunrise Movement demanding that he pledge to appoint 0 current or former Wall Street executives or corporate lobbyists to his administration. But Black Democrats on Capitol Hill and on K Street say that's in direct conflict with the party's overarching diversity goals and would keep many people of color, including those with ties to the financial world. I'm just going to jump in and say exclusively those with ties to the financial world, right?
Yeah, not including.
Right. From ascending to key positions long dominated by white males. Okay, so right off the bat, this pledge would actually eliminate more white people from the running than black people for these positions, right? Because high level corporate and like finance positions are disproportionately filled by white people, right? The pledge.
I was gonna say, what is the percentage of like people of color that are actually in these positions that could be excluded from with this?
It's fucking nonsense. Yeah, it's like so. Yeah,
they're probably much lower than almost any other group you could pick in society.
Exactly. Yeah. So and yeah, again, the pledge says no Wall Street executives. Period. So yeah, this is totally disingenuous, right? I mean, I guess this is yeah. You can feel it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
This shit sucks, bro.
This
as the only non-white person here, I say you get a pass, Tyler.
Thank you.
I think the thing that really pissed me off about it was that like the way it was pitched on like social media. I think specifically on Twitter, like the first release they had of the article was Black Democrats are urging Joe Biden to resist pressure from the left.
Yeah, like, as if it was like all the like the black voters were like, hey, like we gotta protect our like financial people, like our
the black working class rises up and says you have to protect our investors. Like, are you fucking serious?
I mean, I think that was what Malcolm X wanted.
I just don't understand why this is an issue or how it's an issue.
Yeah, no, it's fucking, it's so, okay, what's going on here? What's happening here is identity politics are being co-opted by the elite solely for the purpose of just maintaining the status quo, right? It's completely disingenuous. You know, trying to say, so like, we're going to have diversity within a corrupt system, right? Like particularly one that involves a revolving door between elite government and business interests. That is going to do absolutely nothing to improve the material conditions of like 99% of the population. Yeah. Right. I mean, representation is of course a good thing, right? But we need people of color who work doing things like teaching in these positions, right? Not people from Wall Street. Like we need like working class people in these positions.
You need like real people.
Exactly. Yeah. This is just oh man.
It's just the biggest horseshit. And I think the worst thing about it for me is that I think that most of the people who read that are like, that's dumb. But it's like part of just like a general media project to sort of legitimize talking about like people of color in that way.
And to
Black people in particular.
It's like a trigger word. Like,
like
Tyler was saying, it's like, identity politics being co-opted. They just see that and automatically think, if I don't agree with this, I'm a bad person.
Yeah. And I know I kind of went off on this a little bit on Twitter. It's like it's also an attempt, like it's a part of this broader narrative where they've kind of constructed to suggest that like class politics are racist, right? Yeah, it's like this fits perfectly in with that.
That's the project, is that if you're talking about a class analysis of anything, if you're talking about a material analysis, then you must believe that is more important than racism. It's like, no, it's like these things are actually like closely related.
Yeah, exactly. And so then in terms of like, I know the piece, it said something, it's basically said like black congressmen and people on K Street. So like, it's like, so these are members of the elite, right? The elite wants to have some amount of like representation within itself in order to appear, woke, right? Because appearing woke is kind of like, that's good for public perception, right?
It's good for business right now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, so of course they're going to take this position because that's what their class interest is. It's the same as the white Democrats who are in those same positions, right?
Being sneaky, trying to be sneaky.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, do you guys remember this brought up a lot of stuff from 2016, the Hillary versus Bernie primary, and also stuff from the more recent one in 2019 and 2020 as well, right? Where you get this sort of the like I was kind of saying, the narrative is like, why do leftists hate diversity so much, right? It's like
it's infuriating. It's absolutely maddening.
Like oh my God. I was actually the other day about maybe a week ago or so, I was watching one of the dudes from the Chapo Trap House podcast does like these streams where he kind of just like goes off, and he brought up the thing that Hillary said it was either 2015 or 2016, where I don't know the exact quote, but she said something like, if we break up the big banks tomorrow, would that end racism? Would that end sexism? Do you remember that, Justin?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I like, it's just like, yeah, there's no one single policy that you can do that's going to end racism tomorrow or end sexism tomorrow, right? But
it's like exactly the same as Ben Shapiro tweeting like, oh, even if the US met its Paris climate like things, like, commitments, that would only be like 8% of the way to solving climate change or whatever. It's just like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I guess like broadly speaking, like this is the liberal project now. It's like you kind of try to attack the left from like the identity left, if that makes sense, right? And so it's like, and it's usually it's
another tool.
It's another tool. Exactly. Yeah. It's used. It's like, so it stifles debate whenever universal programs come up. Right. That's another thing that kind of brings me back to 2016 when Hillary said the thing about like, because Bernie had proposed like free college for all. Right. And Hillary was like, well, why should Trump's kids get to go to college for free? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a small percentage of people like who like that's what we're going to use against universal programs, which would absolutely disproportionately benefit people of color and every marginalized group.
That's like every right winger's like opposition to like universal like healthcare or any like universal housing or anything like that. It's like people are going to take advantage of it. It was like,
sure, yeah.
And as someone who's like, my parents absolutely took advantage of like welfare and things like that. It's like, I'd rather have a small percentage of people taking care of these systems if it means like there's no homeless children or there's no houseless children, and like people are eating, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like
it's like whatever.
Yeah, it's like a human way of looking at it.
Like, and the thing is, like, there's always going to be shitty people that are going to try to exploit any system. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It's like if you think about like welfare versus like investment banking, like which attracts more people who are more dishonest and more prone to like
absolutely
cheat the rules in their own favor.
Dude, yeah, and like which one is more like money scammed out of? Like obviously.
Which one's a bigger social problem? No one's saying like
they work.
No one on the right's be like abolish the banks,
for it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
at least they steal our money in an office building.
Money, dude.
What you said, DJ?
Oh, I just said they put in the money to scam those. Or they put in the hours.
They got skin in the game, dude. They got skin in the game, unlike the rest of us.
Right. Yeah.
They're not just sitting on their couch like eating hot Cheetos, just waiting for that check.
Yep.
They're sitting in an office chair eating hot Cheetos.
Probably like sexually harassing their fucking aide or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I guess
Wolf of Wall Street. I know what happens.
Yeah, this is just oh man. I mean, it kind of shows us how powerful racism actually is, like, in this country, and like how it is used as a tool for both parties, right? Like for the Republicans, it's obvious, it's very straightforward, right? It allows them to like play on hatred and fear of a racialized other or others. But for the Democrats, which is what we're seeing in this case, it's powerful to the extent that they can like appropriate genuine anti-racist opposition into a more controlled form of opposition, right?
Yeah,
and it's like the cynical appropriation of ideas like diversity and inclusiveness, like things like that can be weaponized against the left and like against class analysis and politics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like if you look at every city that's painted, or I mean, probably just about every city that's painted Black Lives Matter on a major street or renamed some shit.
Yeah, like
DC did that, and they're not cutting a fucking dime.
Yeah.
Posting a black square on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. I know, exactly. like we kind of talked about last week, right? Like the Democrats have they've determined that if they rename enough streets and use all the right language, that's going to do it for them. That's gonna pull the voters over. Yeah, exactly.
They did it. Yeah, no, it's solving income inequality won't solve racism, but painting a couple streets definitely will.
Yeah, and it's like, so why should we solve income inequality anyway, right? It's like, because what are you gonna? You're gonna distribute wealth away from LeBron James and Oprah.
All right, well, let's keep LeBron James out of our mouth. Right? We can talk shit on Oprah, but I'm not going to stand any James fucking hate.
So TJ thinks that LeBron gets to keep all his wealth after the revolution.
Yeah, that's
oh man,
LeBron, Will Smith, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu taking some of Will Smith's cars.
Tony Hawk. Those four, they're safe.
Oh my god.
Good
Bob Ross.
It's like what stops like a bad person with money is good people with money.
We just need to find the best people and just give them a lot of money.
That's what I'm okay. But to be real, if anyone like deserves to be super rich, it's probably like Will Smith.
No, it's not true.
Really true, bro.
I Am
Will
Legend.
Smith is all right, but
I mean, I Am Legend was a hit though.
I'm also not. I'm not against like being wealthy, I guess.
Yeah, that's where we're gonna get in. We're gonna get into this on another episode. We're not ready for this. We're not ready for it. My blood pressure is already too high right now, you guys.
Yeah, take it easy.
We're gonna kind of.
Hey, take it easy. Over
yeah,
there.
George is. I think I'm getting paged right now.
George is listening in live.
Yeah.
On this,
It's like cut the feed.
Oh my god.
We're going off script here.
Yeah.
We are. We veered from our pre-approved script.
And guys, I don't think this next topic is gonna help at all.
Yeah.
We had the
Tyler might die tonight.
Yeah, I know. I might not make it through. What did we have with Trump though?
It was Trump knew COVID was bad. He knew it was bad.
That's right. It was bad.
Yeah, and he knew it was very bad. Some people are saying it's good. It's actually quite bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I promise I won't do a Trump impression.
No, we don't need to get into that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Bob Woodward was interviewing him like, I don't know, fucking 6 months ago or something, and now just released that Trump said he was purposefully downplaying the coronavirus, which, like, of course he was. Like, why do we need this big revelation?
Sorry, wasn't he like? But there's also interviews where he was like, "I never downplayed coronavirus."
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, he's pretty much said anything you could possibly say at this point, right?
He's held every possible position on multiple issues,
which is kind of fun to watch, at least.
Yeah, especially since most of it is like on video.
Yeah,
yeah, it's easily provable. Yeah,
dude, they would have thought like 100 years. They would have thought like 100 years ago that once you could film what politicians say, like that would just be a game changer.
Yeah, like
it turns out it doesn't matter at all.
It does not matter. Oh my god.
Like, it blows my mind that anyone could think that like he handled any of this appropriately.
Yeah, that's just straight up denial, like denying what is right in front of your fucking face.
He didn't even start wearing a mask until like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived with a guy who believed that coronavirus was a hoax.
It
was pretty weird.
God. Yeah, I've got a friend. TJ kind of knows him too.
I would not call him my friend.
You wouldn't call him your friend. Yeah.
I would not even call him an acquaintance.
Yeah.
He's like deep into like QAnon shit, which I feel like maybe our next episode should be on like.
We should do some Q stuff.
Lies to like these sorts of things.
Next episode. Definitely. All right, let's call it now. Next episode, we're gonna talk about QAnon.
We're gonna talk about red pilling.
Oh my God, TJ.
We're gonna talk about grill pilling.
We might talk about grill pilling. So I saw that basically the quote to Woodward on February 7th. So this is early on before everything shut down, right? Trump said, "You just breathe the air and that's how it's passed." And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than even your strenuous flu. This is deadly stuff. Right?
That's quoted saying that. I didn't read that article.
No, that's what he said to Woodward on February 7th. And like Justin said, he at this point he was kind of already, I think he had already started at this point publicly sort of downplaying it, right?
Yeah. No, I don't know if anyone didn't know this before, but Trump lies sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I miss when presidents didn't lie to us.
Yeah. That's the delusion we have now, though, which is people are like, God, I miss George Bush. George Bush was so awesome.
Dude, they're straight up. Yeah. Isn't that crazy that I've seen that post of like, well, what was it when George Bush like made a statement recently? What was that regarding?
I don't fucking know.
He endorsed Susan Collins.
What was it?
He endorsed Susan Collins in Maine for Senate, and he also made a 9/11 post.
No, there was something else like before that. I think he was like talking about. He came out of it was like during the George Floyd shooting, like early of that. Mm-hmm. He like came out and like made a big post about like basically. I mean, I don't know what it was word for word, but it was like kind of on our side of things and like how like people need to be held accountable and shit like that. And everyone was like praising George Bush, and I was like, God, dude, that is like who had that on their fucking 2020 bingo?
Yeah, dude. The man who turned Guantanamo Bay into a military black site.
Yeah,
that's who you're going for.
It proves that in not even 10 years from now, the broader sort of neoliberal project is gonna partly it's partly gonna consist of like trying to rehabilitate Trump because fucking. I don't know, like the My Pillow guy is the new president and he's worse somehow, you know?
Yeah. Sean Spicer was on fucking Dancing with the Stars after he got fired for the Trump administration.
Yeah, right? They're like shaming these people and then next month they want to rehabilitate them. It's fucking ridiculous.
Remember when Trump hosted SNL?
Yeah, during the campaign. Like
in 2016.
after he had already like this was like it was well established what kind of campaign he was running, and fucking Saturday Night Live, who are like these like liberals, right? And they're always talking to, now they're always like they were obsessed with Mueller. Oh my god, when's the Mueller report gonna come out? But they fucking platformed the guy after he said all the racist shit about like people coming over the border and stuff.
They thought it was funny.
Disgusting. Yeah.
SNL is now on our hit list.
Totally. Oh my god.
SNL, we're coming for you.
Yeah. There was one really, really funny part of this interview too, though. It was, so I'm gonna read just like a little part of the interview, the transcript. So Woodward says to Trump, so he goes, "Your new national security advisor, O'Brien, said to you January 28th, Mr. President, this virus is going to be the biggest national security threat to your presidency. Do you remember that?" And then Trump goes, oh my God. Okay, so Trump goes, no, I don't. No, I don't. I'm sure if he said it, I'm sure he said it. Nice guy.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Nice guy. Oh my God.
Backed hard.
And then
unbelievable.
So as this kind of Woodward stuff started playing out publicly, like once the book was being talked about, Trump tweeted, "Bob Woodward had my quotes for many months. If he thought they were so bad or dangerous, why didn't he immediately report them in an effort to save lives? Didn't he have an obligation to do so? No, because he knew they were good and proper answers. Calm, no panic." So this is like perfect Trump, right? Like with like the whole like deflection thing, obviously.
Yeah.
But then
also, it's like straight out of his playbook.
Yeah, but then at the same time, he's also kind of right though too, right? I mean, like Bob Woodward did have this information for months, and he waited for that juicy book deal money, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's so.
That's the thing is, like, Trump isn't wrong all the time. Like, is he right that Nancy Pelosi shouldn't have been getting, her hair done right now? Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah, like, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Like, it's like, shit like that. It's like, I don't know, people shit themselves every time Trump is right about something. It's like, well, maybe Bob Woodward should have come out earlier, but also, like, all the other stuff that's been reported about the president, I'm kind of like, whatever. Like, we all knew what was happening. It's not like this is like any big revelation. I know it is. I know people are treating it like that, but we all fucking knew it. So like, why can't we just admit it?
Project Veritas shit, like groundbreaking.
Wait, what about Project Veritas, TJ?
I said this isn't some like Project Veritas, like groundbreaking espionage type situation.
Yeah. James O'Keefe would have loved to break something like this if it was like a Democratic president, though. Oh my God, he would dress up as a Watergate. He would dress up as Bob Woodward.
Yeah, Bob Woodward is literally the Watergate dude.
Yeah, I know. No, yeah,
Trump sit down for this interview.
Yeah, James O'Keefe just like puts on a Bob Woodward disguise. And like, so did you guys like? Why do you guys think that Trump did? I mean, he did like accurately portray what the virus was and like what its implications would be to Woodward, right? So that is kind of interesting, right? Like, why do you guys think he was doing that?
Because he's just playing to his audience. Well, now he is.
Sure, but I'm just saying. Go ahead, Justin.
Here's how I think Trump works when he's trying to impress people specifically, right? So he gets these like press briefings, and they will tell him like some complex phrases to say about a thing. So like that's what he's saying. It's like, oh, it's even like worse than some of your walking flus or whatever. Like you can tell that he's doing that because he uses vocabulary that he would not use otherwise.
Yeah, totally.
Like, and so you can tell when he's doing this. And like when journalists like try to corner him and try to ask him like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about? He'll just keep repeating these same things. It sounds smart enough. So that's his game. It's like, he has these things that he can,
even if it's not like accounting for like something he said previously.
Yeah, even if it doesn't make any sense, he just says it, right? That's like what we saw with the quid pro quo thing. right?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck knows what quid pro quo means? Like, he just brings that up, and then everyone's arguing, oh, is this quid pro quo?
Right.
Yes. And then it's like, well, you've lost if you're even like talking about that, you know?
Yeah. And I kind of think that with like that's definitely part of how Trump works. I agree. And I also think that another kind of thing that gets into how he works is like him sort of, like I said, he accurately portrayed what the virus was and the effect that it was going to have on people to Woodward. And what I'm kind of thinking here is that like this was ultimately before the virus shut everything down, obviously, right? Like some of the quotes are from like February 7th, which is kind of a long time before we shut down. It's like over a month, right? Or about a month at least.
Yeah, it's until March.
Yeah, and so I think that Trump knew that this like what he was saying was going to be in a book that Bob Woodward was writing and that a lot of people were going to read. And he wanted, when people read that, he wanted people to kind of perceive him as someone who dealt with a serious crisis, right? Like kind of like a wartime, you know what I mean? Like, so he's like, yeah, no, this is an incredibly dangerous virus. I mean, it's airborne. It's really a tricky one, you know? And people will read that, they'll go, oh yeah, point. Like that was really bad what we dealt with. But he couldn't actually he couldn't foresee like the real world implications of the virus once it actually set in, and once really you were forced to actually shut down the economy and what that meant. So he wasn't actually ready to do what he needed to do to be like a, you know, a quote unquote like wartime president and really like lead the country through something, you know?
Totally. And yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah,
but he knew what he was getting into.
Right. Like well, like what I'm saying is that he did know, but he couldn't fully perceive it until it actually set in. And then he was like, no, never mind. Actually, I'm not gonna tell this to the public. I'm gonna downplay it. Right. Cause once you admit to the public what it is, the stock market takes a hit. Right. And that's one of his main things, right? We're going into election. The stock market looks good. He wants to have that kind of under his belt when he's debating Biden. And people do for some reason think that when the stock market is doing well, that's like a good thing for them, right? Which like for some people it is. And then for I would say for a lot of people, it really doesn't fucking matter.
Or is bad.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, that was a fun episode, right, you guys?
It was.
Yeah.
Can we just highlight also, since we're on the topic of Trump, that really amazing thing that he said recently about burning flags?
Oh my fucking God.
What was it? Burning flags. Yeah.
He was just like, if you burn a flag, it's not freedom of speech and you should get a year in prison.
Yeah, 1 year in jail. He's like, if I were a congressman or a senator or whatever, I'd be bringing that up. I'd be on that. I'd be saying, nope.
I personally would never burn a flag. That's not really my thing. But
sure.
But you know, if you want to burn a flag. Like,
oh my God, it's a
like,
fucking.
It's definitely free speech.
It's a fucking piece of fabric. Like, oh my God.
If you burn a flag with 49 stars, like, is that okay?
It's also like, I think kind of like we talked about earlier, like it's like in our own kind of separate text chat, but it's like, it's wild that, or maybe you tweeted that about how, like, you know, liberals are like trying to encroach on like free speech.
Right. Yeah. Conservatives are going off about like free speech on college campuses and like all this dumb bullshit. And then Trump is literally like, if you burn a piece of fabric, I want you to go to jail for a year. Like,
also the thing that always like impresses me too is how dumb people are with like, you're not supposed to turn the flag into any sort of advertisement or
that's right. Yeah.
Or like anything, and they just like fucking basically like jerk off into it. And
yeah, they've got like the bikinis and shit with like
it's crazy. Totally. And like, you know, even like the blue line and like the red line and like shit like that is like technically like defamating the flag.
Totally. Yeah. They're.
Yeah, I think they don't actually care about the flag.
No,
they don't. Say it.
It's just like something that is like, you know, symbolizes America, you know, and that they can co-opt into their own fucking weird.
Exactly. It's like a cultural wedge for like white grievance.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know, like, we all know already, like, we've seen plenty of clips of Trump rallies and how sometimes it can be like, I mean, sometimes it's funny, obviously, but sometimes it's very dark. And like that clip that came out today was one of those things where it was a little dark. I mean, like, the dude says, put people in jail for a year for burning the flag, and the crowd goes wild. It's like, wow.
It's not good.
And also, I think they've scheduled a debate with Biden. Did you guys see? I think I want to say it's the 29th.
Are they screening?
I think that's right.
For superhuman drugs?
Exactly. Yeah, TJ, I wanted to bring that up. Yeah. So, like, what was it? Like, Trump basically said that, like, he wants, before the presidential debates, he wants both candidates to take a drug test because he's convinced that Biden took drugs before, like, some of those debates with Bernie because he just did too well.
He was way more energetic than usual.
Genius.
Oh my God, it's so funny. But I think I'm excited for the debate, though. I am. I think it's gonna be interesting. We will definitely be covering that.
We have to play like a bingo
covering the debate.
What'd you say, TJ?
I said maybe we do a live stream on covering the debate.
I would love to. We're gonna
That'd be great.
We're gonna try and figure out how to do that. Definitely.
That'd be awesome.
So okay, guys, do you guys have any last words? Any last comments?
One last thing, since we're on the subject of the debate, I think this might have just come out today or yesterday, but the Trump campaign is trying to get the Biden campaign to agree to have Joe Rogan moderate a 4-hour debate.
I saw that.
Holy shit. I would actually love that.
You know what? I would prefer that, honestly.
I would definitely listen, but that sounds awful to me.
The whole presidential, like, everything right now is such a meme. Like, fucking go for
it. The thing is that I have zero expectations for the kind of like corporate moderators to moderate it in any sort of fair way. True. I mean, like, so they were primarily unfair to Sanders during the primary debates. Like, the way that they frame every question is like basically a right-wing talking point.
Yeah, it's horrible.
But the thing is that they'll do that to Biden too. Like, it doesn't matter that he's not actually like a left candidate. They're still going to do the same thing. They're going to be talking about like anarchy in the streets. Like, literally, everything is going to be framed that way. So that's why I would say you know what? Fuck it. Yeah. Let Joe Rogan do it.
Dude,
that's a fair point.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Rogan at least said, I think he said he was going to vote for Bernie, didn't he?
He probably, I don't know.
Yeah. So I honestly,
what a fucking like weird dude.
Super weird. Yeah. Super weird. But
my favorite Joe Rogan meme is the one about like where he's like, someone wrote over it like, the government doesn't want you to know this, but the ducks at the park are free. It's so funny, dude.
Oh my God. So yeah, that's the Sheeple's Army kind of position on this, though. We don't really endorse Joe Rogan as like a person, but if he wants to moderate the debate, we will endorse that.
Definitely.
And I think that's going to be it for us this week. This has been episode 2, and we will see everybody next week.